of Athens by Raphael, who is the third of four Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The context for this piece is that the main driver for the Renaissance was this philosophy called humanism. And in humanism, there is a shift away from the religious world. Not that it was abandoned, it absolutely was not abandoned, but there was the addition of the logical thought and scientific inquiry and renewed interest in Greek and Roman learning. So there was a shift from God and, what's going to happen when I die to humankind and the here and now. The other contextual bit for this School of Athens is this is the Vatican. It's kind of the mothership of the Catholic Church, and this is Pope Francis. And here's another view of Pope Francis in his Pope hat. And Pope Julius, there have been 266 popes. Pope Julius, back in 1509, wanted his library, or the room in the Vatican called the Stanza della Signatura, the place where important documents were signed, to be painted. And he got Raphael on board, and Raphael painted all four walls. One wall was dedicated to law, another to religion, another to literature, and this wall was dedicated to philosophy. And this is our School of Athens. The form of this piece is that it is linear perspective, just like in the Last Supper, all of the lines converge on Plato and his hand that's holding his book. Some say that it converges on the sky up above. Other form for this piece is this foreshortening that we see in Aristotle's arm. His arm is obviously much longer than this, but there's this awesome skill of making his arm have more depth using foreshortening. And then there's this chiaroscuro, and chiaroscuro is seen here with, do you see the light and then the dark over here on Plato? This dark and light makes a body be more robust, be more round, and have more depth. And so there's a lot of chiaroscuro going on in this piece. Then there is light happening. And the way you know that there's light happening, the light's kind of coming from up here. And, well, maybe down a little bit, but do you see the shadows? Look at all these shadows happening. The shadow that we see here as a result of the light helps, along with the chiaroscuro, along with the foreshortening, along with the linear perspective, helps this two-dimensional painting have the illusion of space. So an amazing piece that way. And finally, on form, Raphael would have used this cartoon. It's just a drawing of all the images on paper, just to plan out how he would have placed it in this big architectural space. Now on to content. In this painting, you can see there's this massive space, and we think the inspiration for Raphael was the Greek idea of a lyceum or gymnasium. And we would have seen here these Roman baths. Raphael would have seen the kind of the remains of them. These were where Greek and Roman people gathered to shoot the breeze and talk about culture, talk about literature. And so we think that is his model for his school. More content. You can see here that we have Greek, deities, Apollo here with the lyre, a musical instrument, and Athena over here with a spear and a like shield. And these are Apollo, the god of art, and Athena, the god of wisdom. More content. Plato holds the book Timaeus, and Aristotle holds the book the Nicomachean, Ethics. And in his book Timaeus, Plato is talking about the world being created, and he talks about a craftsman creating kind of a perfect world. Now, Plato existed 2,000 years before, the mention of a monotheistic God. And then Aristotle talks about how everything that is on the ground, if we want to know about the world, we look at what is physically present. So that's why Plato is pointing up and Aristotle is motioning down. Taking that idea of looking for some, mysteries that are kind of beyond this worldly realm, all of the philosophers over on this side in blue were relating to looking up, beyond this world for answers to their questions. And philosophers over here were concerned with really practical issues, math, for example. And so they're divided between these two, Plato and Aristotle thinking. So who is gathered here? We have Euclid demonstrating to students his geometry. Over here we have Ptolemy here in the gold gown, show with his globe talking about how planets move. And then right here is Raphael in the black cap. Socrates is the one here with the furrowed brow, kind of verbally talking. That's the Socratic seminar stuff. And then we've got Pythagoras right here talking about math. And then Heraclitus is a writer, and he had this saying that you can't step in the same river twice. He's featured here as a brooding philosopher, and some think that this might be Michelangelo, who was at the very time painting the Sistine Chapel, and he was brooding and hard to get along with. And then here also sprawled on the stairs is Diogenes, who is a cynic, who created cynic philosophy. Super controversial guy, lived a super simple life. He really didn't like what was going on in the modern world. And so he looks like he's kind of apart from everyone else. And then finally, Hypatia is here in white, we think, and this is a female mathematician and astronomer from Egypt. And we have mentioned Averroes in class. He is from the Umayyad dynasty in Spain, and he is the one who translated Greek and Roman philosophers like Plato and Aristotle and then transferred them to the European world of Western Europe. And then finally, function. The big idea here is that humanists believe beliefs in the Renaissance are here in both the content and the style of this work that I hope you can now write about. And it demonstrated Pope Julius II, who commissioned this, it demonstrated that he was an intellectual, really in tune with Renaissance thinking, along with church liturgical thinking.